The agency in charge of developing Toronto's waterfront is allowing a key proposal to move forward. A Google sister company wants to create a futuristic smart city on a prime piece of land. The government agency says major differences have been resolved. CBC's Thomas Degla was at the vote today. He joins me live from Toronto. So what happened at that meeting, Thomas?
Well, this is talk of a smart neighborhood right on the waterfront here in Toronto, and the government agency here, Waterfront Toronto, had to decide whether to move forward on this smart neighborhood project promoted by Sidewalk Labs, which, as you say, is a sister company of Google that wants to use Toronto as a template for other smart neighborhoods with all kinds of data collected by sensors on people living in this neighborhood, new buildings, new homes, and public transit and traffic, all sort of tracked and predicted using user data. What to do with all that user data was up for debate in recent months. The company said that it wanted 190 acres of land to develop this project. For now, Waterfront Toronto is moving forward with a much smaller project, only giving Sidewalk Labs 12 acres of land on the waterfront. And according to Waterfront Toronto, the government agency here who just voted, this is going to be key in making this huge project more manageable. Listen to Chairman Stephen Diamond.
Taking this project from 190 acres to 12 acres, I believe that everything about the project becomes much more manageable because the issue of data and privacy and what they're going to do on 12 acres of land is a lot less than what they could do with respect to 190 acres of land.
So look ahead then, Thomas. What's the next step?
Well, some of the issues have been resolved, at least for the time being. Like that data I was talking about, we now know that the plan is for it all to be stored within Canada. We know Sidewalk Labs has agreed that any patents it develops in this smart neighborhood project, that those patents, that technology is going to be made available to other Canadian tech firms. So some progress has been made, but the chairman of Waterfront Toronto has made it very clear this is not a done deal yet. This is going to go to more public consultations with a further decision by the end of March 2020. So we are still a very long ways away from any shovels in the ground and ever any sensors in the air, Sir Hannah.
Thanks for that, Thomas. We'll talk again. That's CBC's Thomas Degla in Toronto.
The agency in charge of developing Toronto's waterfront is allowing a key proposal to move forward. A company affiliated with Google wants to create a futuristic smart city on a prime piece of land. The government agency says major differences have been resolved. CBC senior technology reporter Thomas Degla was at the vote today and joins me now. So Thomas, what exactly was decided today?
Well, this is a step forward in this Sidewalk Labs project that would create this smart, connected neighborhood on Lake Ontario here in Toronto. The idea would be to have heated sidewalks, automatically controlled street lights, self-driving cars, all sorts of high-tech gizmos in this neighborhood, but that requires a lot of data from people either who live there or who are walking by or driving by. And that data and who gets to control it really is at the heart of this debate. We now know that Sidewalk Labs, the Google sister company, has agreed to keep that data within Canada, and they have agreed to share their high-tech patents that they will develop with other Canadian tech firms, which is going to allow the tech industry here to evolve. At least that is the goal. Sidewalk Labs also wanted an LRT, light rail transit, all the way to this quayside development. Waterfront Toronto, the government agency, has said they can't promise that. So that part has been put on hold, but it is a step forward in this project, not a final approval. Here was one concerned citizen who lives just a block away from the proposed site, what she said after the announcement.
I'm glad. I mean, there's an appropriate level of skepticism, and the possibility of saying no still exists, so that's reassuring. We aren't swallowing sidewalk hook, line, and sinker.
So tell us more about what officials in Toronto needed to consider when deciding whether to go forward with this, because, you know, other Canadians may be saying, well, what's going on here? This was really quite a controversial idea. Some people very excited about it, some people very concerned about it, and I believe it would be a first or a first of sorts.
It would absolutely be a first of sorts because Sidewalk Labs and Alphabet, Google's parent company, they want to use this as a sort of template for other potential smart cities in North America and around the world. And this project goes to the heart of a municipality and indeed a country, Canada in this case, trying to balance what local citizens want, those who are keen and early adopters, as we call them, and concerned citizens like the one you just heard a moment ago, who aren't too aren't really reassured by what they're hearing about how their data is going to be collected and how they're going to be monitored. So I asked the head of Waterfront Toronto about what message this sends to other tech firms who want to set up shop here.
Be aware that the public is concerned with respect to some digital innovation, and that they will have to be subject to those issues and concerns if they want to come forward and work in this city.
So we are still months away from any final approval. There are going to be more public consultations, and who doesn't love those? Certainly concerned citizens think they're important, and Sidewalk Labs, of course, says they will cooperate if ever there are going to be shovels in the ground in the coming years, Andrew.
All right, Thomas, thank you.
You're welcome.